So, just like me, if you were shocked last night, like me and everybody else, to find out that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to play Doctor Doom, man, it's like they just know what to. As soon as our blood pressure comes down from Deadpool and Wolverine, they shoot us right back up with announcing Doctor Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr. And in the way that they announced it was just it's Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. fashion to take the spotlight from Hall H of San Diego Comic Con yesterday, which that's another passion of mine is wanting to attend um, all the Comic Cons that I can, especially the ones that are held for and for Marvel and DC. Um, I've always wanted to go to California and experience their Comic Cons. They always have the best. I was pretty envious of the Comic Con that they had um, yesterday for Hall H, announcing a lot of the movies and lineups coming up. Um, and does anybody else get like goosebumps when they see stuff like that? I get goosebumps and my heart just starts just pounding through the roof when I see stuff like that. Um, but yes, Doctor Doom will be portrayed by none other than the great Robert Downey Jr. The GOAT is back. The King is back. We've always speculated on ever since Endgame. Everybody, even me, has speculated and plotted and read about when are we going to see Robert Downey Jr. again as Iron Man? Will we see him as Superior Iron Man? That didn't happen. Will we see him in a multiversal variant of Iron Man and Tony Stark? That didn't happen. Um, we asked if he would be back in Deadpool and Wolverine. That also did not happen. We always speculate he left us on cliffhangers. He went and did other projects. He was great in Oppenheimer, fantastic. Um, but we never would have thought, unless you're a real comic book reader. And I just found this out maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I never really thought about it would be possible. But I found out the comic book run for Iron Man, infamous Iron Man, featured Doctor Doom, um, in the way of it's really weird how that comic book, how that comic run, infamous Iron Man kind of plays out because it's like you transferred your mind into Tony Stark. And now Tony Stark is Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom was Tony Stark. It was just crazy. So I think they're gonna be pulling from that comic book run, which I'll have to go read. Again, I'm balling on a budget, so the stuff that the comic runs that I want to explore and read, I don't have the money for. Trust me, if I could get the whole collection, a bunch of omnibuses, a bunch of collections together and read, I'd be the smartest man known to comic known to comic books. So, but I don't have that. But what I do have is the first copy of Secret Wars, the 2015 run by Jonathan Hickman. It's by Hickman, Assad Ribic, and Ive Savoy-Sina. I don't know how to pronounce that. Strangely enough, Joe Quesada actually had a helping hand in, I believe, the artwork in this. Joe Quesada is actually another great artist that I don't know too much about him, but I've seen his artwork and his comic book storylines. He's written, I believe, he's written the first. I remember reading about him and Kevin Smith coming together and writing some of the best Daredevil comic book runs of all time. Like it's hard to even find the Joe Quesada Marvel Knights. That's what it is. Marvel Knights. That's the comic book run that him and Kevin Smith came together. I mean, they worked on Daredevil too, but they also worked on Marvel Knights. So it's hard to even find anything with Joe Quesada and Daredevil because it's like it's rare. So I've been trying to find some Joe Quesada artwork or Joe Quesada, Daredevil runs just because it's his artwork around that time. It came out in the 90s, but it still holds up to this day. It's like putting posters in a comic book and reading posters. But this is by Jonathan Hickman, and if you can look at that, look how it shines off the light. The foil cover, it's like almost 3D, but I love the the artwork that they've done, and the doesn't even feel like a comic book. Like this, it's like I can't even explain it to you, but just if you see how it just bounces off the sun, that kind of gives you an idea of how great this comic book was. It dropped in 2015. Strangely enough, in 2015 was the same year I graduated high school, and I was actually more into baseball around that. I was a baseball guy around that time. I was not into comic books, but I remember um, very distinctively reading or seeing the advertisement for this version of Secret World by Jonathan Hickman. Again, I was somewhat of a nerd around that time, but I was more so into the baseball. MLB Network was very prominent on my TV every day. But I remember seeing the issues of Secret Wars, but not really being too much into it, just because I wasn't a comic book guy. I was like I said, baseball dude. But yes, this is a man. This cover is like most comic books have a um, paper. This is more like hard plastic. Not even hard plastic, but the characters on the front are like they feel like they're ingrained, like it was almost engraved in there. That's how great this comic book feels. And this is more of like a hard a hard paper. It's more of like a hard paper, like it's not bendable as much. And strangely enough, it cost me $15.99. So I got it at that local comic book shop. I seen this one and I said I have to get it. This is actually gonna be a mission of mine. I have time because Secret Wars does not come out for like another 2 or 3 years, but I'm gonna try to read every issue from 1 to 9. It really goes from 0 to 9, but again, doing my research, I found out that the issue 0 for Secret Wars was actually a free release on Free Comic Book Day in 2015. Um, but I will try to get number 0, but I'm really gonna just try to read number 1 through 9 because I feel like they're going to be pulled. The Russo brothers, who are directing Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, I feel like the Russo brothers are going to be pulling material from the first run of the Secret Wars, the '80s run, and the 2015 run. A couple takeaways before I kind of give you a little backstory on this, or just my overall opinion on this comic book. I feel like with Avengers Doomsday, now that they have Robert Downey Jr. in it, I think we're going to see the introduction of a lot of characters. I wrote some notes down. We will see the Beyonder be the main villain. I thought when they announced Secret Wars was going to be, I feel like I also feel like Secret Wars is going to be a two-part film. That's just my opinion. I don't think you're going to be able to fit everything you want into one film, especially if you're going to be reading or going through each comic book. As far as the Secret Wars is going, you have 12 issues of the 1980s run, then you have 9 or 10 issues of the 2015 run. So I feel like they're gonna leave us on a cliffhanger with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, and spoil us with Avengers Secret Wars Part Two, and maybe a Doomsday Part Two, because you never know. Um, but what I think will happen with Avengers Doomsday going forward, we'll find out who the Beyonder is before the film comes out. Obviously, um, we'll know that the Fantastic Four will be set in the 60s, but they will carry over into the Avengers Doomsday and the Avengers Secret Wars. So at some point, again, this is still gonna be multiverse. We will see the Fantastic Four crossover or meet. I think we'll be introduced to Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four. I think we're gonna see because if this is the Fantastic Four in a different universe set in the 60s, a futuristic 60s, I think that's when they're going to plug in Infamous Iron Man. I think we see a different Tony Stark, because in Infamous Iron Man, Tony Stark is roommates with Victor Von Doom, and I think that Tony Stark is going to be subject to um, what happened in the comic book with the brain and mind switch. I mean, not the brain and mind, but the body switch. And I think that is who will be introduced into the Fantastic Four. And I think those characters will be pulled into main continuity going into Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Wow, that just came off the top of my head. I literally just had that come off the top of my head. If I'm right, this video will put me in another stratosphere with the nerds. But anyways, I feel like Ultron to come back because if you look in the 2015 run, from what I've been reading, I read ahead on YouTube with some issues. Um, who brings him back? Doctor Doom brings back Ultron. Now, there's been a lot of speculation that Ultron might come back within Armor Wars if they're still doing that. I feel like Ultron is a very very big super villain that you can't hold him to just Age of Ultron. You have to revisit him, revisit you know you have to let Doctor Doom do what he does with Ultron. I think what we saw in Age of Ultron was just the tip of the iceberg of what Ultron can be. I think when Doctor Doom invokes his power on Ultron and um, his his influence, I think Ultron will be taking it a step further, and I think he'll be a quiet villain that fits kind of well going into Secret Wars, and we'll just see how that plays out. That's just my opinion. Also, because I want to see Ultron come back. I thought he was great in Age of Ultron. I think he fits really well with what they have going forward with bringing back different characters, and I just think he deserves way more flowers than what he got in his Age of Ultron movie. Um, Avengers Doomsday will end on a massive cliffhanger. I think that Avengers Doomsday will be pulling from Secret Wars. I think it'll be pulling from the ending of Secret Wars towards the end, where uh, a lot of characters start getting, sucked away into what will be called Battle World. I think, from what I read towards the end of Secret Wars, uh, we'll see more of the introduction of uh, Doctor Doom and what his plot will be. Um, and I didn't even talk about the comic. I'm sorry, but here we have Avengers: Secret Wars. This is basically just a culmination or destruction of, a lot of a lot of planets. Um, this is actually a very grim read. Like it gets dark really quick. We see Mr. Fantastic trying to save his family from, the destruction of one world, but obviously not being able to do so. If you've read the comic, then you know what happens. I don't think they're dead. I think that's what transfers them over into Battle World, into the other comic series. But again, I haven't read the rest of the comic runs of this, but I can only speculate. Um, but yes, I do believe a lot of what we see in the Avengers Secret Wars is what we will see going into Avengers Doomsday. Again, you know, we it, I'm just speculating. This is not what I feel will be the right down to the T. This is just like, I don't think they'll have another Thanos, or they could have another Thanos. Like I said, you never know. I just feel like they'll incorporate more of the mutants. I think with Avengers Doomsday, we'll see more of the mutants coming out. We'll see um, Spider-Man, maybe both Spider-Man, but we will also see more of. It'll be more ground level. I feel like Avengers Doomsday is going to start off more ground level again, introducing a lot of key players that we need. The new Avengers, which I feel like Sam Wilson will be the new cap. He's going to be new Captain America, but he'll be the new leader of the Avengers. Um, we're gonna need some firepower for the Avengers. I think Captain Marvel comes back, Spider Man comes back. Um, we probably get a new Black Panther in there, a new Iron Man, maybe. But yes, massive cliffhanger coming for Avenger Doomsday. Um, I also believe Doomsday and Secret Wars will be split up into two movies that they're not telling us. I think that they just want to keep us, in the dark on some things, which is fine. I don't want to have everything exposed all at once, anyways. I believe within the Secret Wars, I believe Tom Holland gets his black suit, Spider-Man suit. I think we see Wolverine again. I think we also get Tobey Maguire at some point. I just feel like we do. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, that's basically it. I have to go back and do some more research and do some more reading. But if you haven't, I'm pretty sure a lot of people already have. But if you want to kind of get an idea of where the Russo brothers are taking Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, start reading material from the 2015 run by Jonathan Hickman, and start reading material from the 1980s run. This is going to be epic. The news that broke of Robert Downey Jr., I can only imagine of, you know, who's going to be playing the Beyonder. And just when the movie, I mean, of course, the movie's like 2-3 years out, but just the fact that they're going to start shooting, the movie soon, and they're going to be probably dropping trailers for it. Like, I can't even wait to see. I've already seen clips of the Fantastic Four, like not clips but stills. Galactus looks amazing. But yes, anyways, I've already spent too much time. Secret Wars, great comic. Like I said, it's basically just the beginning of the end of what Earth is this? I believe it's 1610. Yeah, this is just the multiverse. The multiverse of dying, two Earths collide. This will be the 1610. This is where the event incursion begins. This is where, like I said, the end and the beginning starts. Um, Great read, very powerful read. It's a makes you want to read the whole book. It's a real thick book, actually. It has to have at least 25, maybe 30 pages. If I read all 30 pages. Um, yes, for a reference, go read Secret Wars number 1 through 9 by Jonathan Hickman, and go look at the 1980s original run to give you a reference. And also to also give you a reference, I'm gonna just try to put some links in the descriptions to where you guys can go read, or at least get a overview of the comic book to give you a better understanding. Infamous Iron Man. I just found this out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't. I'm not the comic guru like that. I'm trying to be, but Infamous Iron Man. Um, Go check that one out. I'm gonna go check it out and leave a link for you guys to go look at, and that'll give you a guiding point on what to expect from Robert Downey Jr. at being Daredevil. I mean, not Daredevil. That'd be stupid. Being Doctor Doom. But thank you all for tuning in to No Limit Zay. Thank you all for supporting the channel, supporting the shorts that I put out. The channel's starting to blow up. More stuff coming soon. I'm actually about to start, you know, making things a little complicated. So more on that coming soon. Don't let that go over your head. But yeah, I'm about to start shaking some things up. Peace.